This is the heart of the Buddha's teaching, Chapter 11, titled Right Mindfulness. We've divided this chapter into several pieces, so be aware that when I end this, there'll be more after it. Right mindfulness. Right mindfulness, Samyak Smriti, is at the heart of the Buddha's teachings. Traditionally, right mindfulness is the seventh on the path of 8 right practices, but it is presented here third to emphasize its great importance. When right mindfulness is present, the 4 noble truths and the 7 other elements of the Eightfold Path are also present. When we are mindful, our thinking is right thinking. Our speech is right speech. And so on. Right mindfulness is the energy that brings us back to the present moment. To cultivate mindfulness in ourselves is to cultivate the Buddha within, to cultivate the Holy Spirit. According to Buddhist psychology, Abhidharma, Superdharma, the trait attention, also known as manaskara, is universal, which means we are always giving our attention to something. Our attention may be appropriate, as when we dwell fully in the present moment, or inappropriate, as when we are attentive to something that takes us away from being here and now. A good gardener knows the way to grow flowers from compost. Right mindfulness accepts everything without judging or reacting. It is inclusive and loving. The practice is to find ways to sustain appropriate attention throughout the day. The Sanskrit word for mindfulness, smriti, means remember. Mindfulness is remembering to come back to the present moment. The character the Chinese use for mindfulness has 2 parts. The upper part means now, and the lower part means mind or heart. The first miracle of mindfulness is to be present and able to touch deeply in the blue sky, the flower, and the smile of our child. The second miracle of mindfulness is to make the other, the sky, the flower, our child, present also. In the Vietnamese epic poem, Tale of Q, Q returns to the apartment of her beloved, Kim Trong, and finds him fast asleep at his desk, his head resting on a pile of books. Kim Trong hears Q's footsteps, but not quite awake, he asks, "Are you really there, or am I dreaming?" Q replies, "Now we have the opportunity to see each other clearly, but if we do not live deeply this moment, it will only be a dream. You and your loved one are here together. You have the chance to see each other deeply, but if you are not fully present, everything will be like a dream." The third miracle of mindfulness is to nourish the object of your attention. When was the last time you looked into the eyes of your beloved and asked, "Who are you, my darling?" Don't be satisfied by a superficial answer. Ask again. Who are you who has taken my suffering as your suffering, my happiness as your happiness, my life and death as your life and death? My love, why aren't you a dewdrop, a butterfly, a bird? Ask with your whole being. If you do not give right attention to the one you love, it is a kind of killing. When you are in the car together, if you are lost in your thoughts, assuming you already know everything about her, she will slowly die. But with mindfulness, your attention will water the wilting flower. I know you are here beside me, and it makes me very happy. With attention, you will be able to discover many new and wonderful things. Her joys, her hidden talents, her deepest aspirations. If you do not practice appropriate attention, how can you say you love her? The fourth miracle of mindfulness is to relieve the other's suffering. I know you are suffering. That is why I am here for you. You can say this with words or just by the way you look at her. If you are not truly present, if you are thinking about other things, the miracle of relieving suffering cannot be realized. In difficult moments, if you have a friend who can be truly present with you, you know you are blessed. To love means to nourish the other person with appropriate attention. When you practice right mindfulness, you make yourself and the other person present at the same time. Darling, I know you are there. Your presence is precious to me. If you do not express this while you are together, when she passes away or has an accident, you will only cry, because before the accident happened, did you not know how to be truly happy together? When someone is about to die, if you sit with him stably and solidly, that alone may be enough to help him leave this life with ease. Your presence is like a mantra, sacred speech that has a transforming effect. When your body, speech, and mind are in perfect oneness, that mantra will have an effect even before you utter a word. The first four miracles of mindfulness belong to the first aspect of meditation, samatha, stopping, calming, resting, and healing. When you have calmed yourself and stopped being dispersed, your mind will be one-pointed, and you will be ready to begin looking deeply. The fifth miracle of mindfulness is looking deeply, vipassana, which is also the second aspect of meditation. Because you are calm and concentrated, you are really there for deep looking. You shine the light of meditation. I give you that again. You shine the light of mindfulness on the object of your attention. And at the same time, you shine the light of mindfulness on yourself. You observe the object of your attention, and you also see your own storehouse full of precious gems. The sixth miracle of mindfulness is understanding. When we understand something, often we say, I see. We see something we hadn't seen before. Seeing and understanding come from within us. When we are mindful, touching deeply the present moment, we can see and listen deeply. and the fruits are always understanding, acceptance, love, and the desire to relieve suffering and bring joy. Understanding is the very foundation of love. When you understand someone, you cannot help but love him or her. The seventh miracle of mindfulness is transformation. When we practice right mindfulness, we touch the healing and refreshing elements of life and begin to transform our own suffering and the suffering of the world. We want to overcome a habit such as smoking for the health of our body and mind. When we begin the practice, our habit energy is still stronger than our mindfulness, so we don't expect to stop smoking overnight. We only have to know that we are smoking when we are smoking. As we continue to practice, looking deeply and seeing the effects that smoking has on our body, mind, family, and community, we become determined to stop. It is not easy, but the practice of mindfulness helps us see the desire and the effects clearly, and eventually we will find a way to stop. Sangha is important. One man who came to Plum Village had been trying to stop smoking for years, but he couldn't. At Plum Village, he stopped his first day because the group energy was so strong. No one is smoking here. Why should I? It can take years to transform a habit energy, but when we do, we stop the wheel of samsara, the vicious cycle of suffering and confusion that has gone on for so many lifetimes. Practicing the 7 miracles of mindfulness helps us lead a happy and healthy life, transforming suffering and bringing forth peace, joy, and freedom. In the discourse on the 4 establishments of mindfulness, the Buddha offers 4 objects for our mindfulness practice: our body, our feelings, our mind, and the objects of the mind. Monks and nuns in many Buddhist countries memorize this discourse, and it is the text that is read to them as they leave this life. It is helpful to read the discourse on the 4 establishments of mindfulness at least once a week, along with the discourse on the full awareness of breathing, and the discourse on knowing the better way to live alone. You might like to keep these 3 books by your bedside and take them when you travel. We will end this part of this chapter right here and continue with the next.